Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a good break for a couple of weeks, but it's also very, very good to be back on a Tuesday evening with our Tech Tuesday, an exciting new year ahead. And we've had a brilliant year last year. We're going to make this year even better and hopefully get a whole lot more people to join us on this Zoom. And please feel free to invite as many people as you want to. I think we've got a limit of 100, so we've still got a couple of slots available. Feel free to invite people on a Tuesday evening. It's great to have guests along, and anybody who wants to obviously get the recording afterwards, it's great as well. So because it's a new year, and because it's the beginning of the year, and because everybody's always doing the proverbial New Year's resolutions that normally last about the first 2 or 3 days, I'm covering the rather large topic of obesity tonight, and possibly next week as well, because I'll just see how far I can get with this particular session. But I'm going to just do some broad overviews in the beginning as I go through the year. And so I'll do a broad overview, and then I'll dig down deeper into the individual things and start to do more in-depth training on individual products and possibly individual conditions, like cardiac conditions or blood pressure or those sort of things, and just try and focus a little bit more on that instead of having too broad a subject along the line. This is Tech Tuesday, so we will get relatively technical, but I hope to be able to still make it enjoyable and educational as we go along. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share sound just in case I get to that stage. Shrink everybody down. So again, I have borrowed this presentation from a place called Food, A Fact of Life, which is a British site that I borrowed the information from. And I hope that they will forgive me for using the information and sharing it. So I'm going to start with a disclaimer, and I think I need to add this in most of my talks as well, that the information shared here is for information purposes only. In no way should it be considered as a medical diagnosis or treatment suggestion. And should you have an underlying medical condition, please consult a suitably qualified medical practitioner, registered dietitian, or clinical nutritionist. As we all know, January is the usual time where everybody suddenly wants to join a gym and they want to get a skinny figure after they've had a little bit of overindulgence over December, and for those overseas, probably the end of October, November as well, when they do their Thanksgiving. So pretty much from Thanksgiving onwards, there seems to be a lot of gatherings with people together having foods that they wouldn't normally have. And therefore, we get this sudden weight gain that you wake up one morning and you go, whoa, what happened to my feet? Because they disappeared. I could have sworn I saw them yesterday, but all of a sudden they're no longer there. I'll get to the particular saying shortly, but it's something along the lines of, Jim McAfee refers to it as furniture disease, where your chest drops into your drawers. So this is what happens around about this time. And unfortunately, people tend to, when they suddenly discover that they're not fitting into the clothes that they did fit into before Christmas, they figured out that maybe some things got in the cupboard and the clothes were maybe washed in some hot water and shrunk, and they want to be able to put the clothes back in the cupboard, close the door, turn around a couple of times, come back, open the door, and the clothes will miraculously fit because all of that weight has disappeared. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Fortunately for some people like myself, I do have genetics on my side. So I have a relatively fast metabolism. Others, for various reasons, don't have that fast metabolism. So whatever they eat tends to stay behind. Now, there are a few reasons behind that as well, but I tend to be quite energetic, and I'm not a big one for sitting still for very long. And I eat because I have to, not because I want to. A little bit like Charlie, I think. But he always says because of his age, he has to be very careful about what he eats because things can go south very, very quickly. But we'll cover overweight and obesity in, forgive the pun, slightly broader terms tonight. In the UK, in many other developed countries, overweight and obesity rates in adults and children have been increasing over the years. According to statistics on obesity, physical activity, and diet published in 2018, 57% of adult women and 66% of adult men are overweight or obese. In countries like the USA, and sadly even South Africa, I think these figures are even greater at this stage because this is now a few years later. And statistically speaking, we are in a serious position right now because I think the stats are heading close to 80% of people who are overweight or obese. And the overweight isn't a major issue on its own. It's the obesity that leads to all sorts of other medical conditions and problems. And that's part of what I'm going to be going into as I drift away from this. So this is the start of my series, and I will go in and cover those individual conditions that stem from obesity. It is important to lead an active lifestyle and make healthier food choices. We know that. It's common knowledge, but it's not easy to do. Easy to say, it's not easy to do. Now, there's a problem called overnutrition, and this is a problem that's usually associated with developed countries such as the UK, I would say the States, and South Africa. The most common form of overnutrition is having an energy intake in excess of needs, resulting in overweight and obesity. Now, very high intakes of minerals and fat-soluble vitamins, more can usually be obtained from food sources alone, can be toxic. And this is because they are stored in the body. For example, vitamin A is stored in the liver. So we know that if we're taking a vitamin A supplement, it is a fat-soluble supplement, which, if taken in excess, can lead to toxic issues in the system. Now, people who are obese are more likely to suffer from things like coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, gallstones, arthritis, high blood pressure, some types of cancers such as colon, breast, kidney, and stomach. And while I'm on this particular slide, I can say that I regularly see people, patients of mine, who are suffering from type 2 diabetes. Gallstones, I'm seeing them pretty much every week. And when I see these people, the thought that runs through my mind is, if only they knew that they could have prevented this pain and this expense of lying in hospital. It could have been prevented by changing their diet. Arthritis is an inflammatory condition. Now, not always brought on by obesity, but there are a few other triggers for arthritis, but obesity sort of exaggerates the pain and the stiffness because for every pound of weight you lose, you'll have to do the conversion rate, I'm afraid, but for every pound of weight that you lose, you're losing something like 3 pounds of weight on your knees. And your knees are usually one of the first areas to develop arthritis in. High blood pressure is another problem. And this is purely because your nutrition is not being regulated correctly, so therefore the blood pressure isn't stabilized correctly. And the cancers, well, we'll get into them as we go along. Body mass index, or BMI, is a common thing, and you'll often hear people talk about BMI. If you go to a doctor, they will check you and work on your BMI. If you go to a dietitian, they'll weigh you and give you an indication of what your BMI is. If you have to go to theatre, for instance, and you happen to have an excess, an excess BMI, or higher than what the medical aids think is good, the doctors are actually allowed to charge extra to do surgery on you because of all the risks. And medical aids, they will tell you in the fine print, reserve the right not to cover those extra costs if your BMI is above a certain level. Now, BMI isn't always an accurate thing, because sometimes you'll have athletes who, statistically speaking, have an elevated BMI. They are not obese or overweight. They are extra heavy, so their BMI, we'll get through the calculation shortly, but BMI is worked out between your body weight and your height. And this is why I say certain athletes, specifically bodybuilders, will have quite a high BMI because they weigh a lot, although they don't carry any fat. They do carry a lot of muscle. So your BMI can be used to identify if an adult is a correct weight for height. Why is it missing? Here we go. So the recommended BMI range for adults, less than 18.5 is considered underweight. 18.5 to 25 is desirable or healthy range. 25 to 30 is overweight. 30 to 35 is a class 1 obese. 35 to 40 is a class 2 obese. And over 40 is morbidly, severely class 3 obese. So to do a little calculation over here, you can see they've got 3 different subjects. One is 1.7 meters tall, one is 1.95, one is 1.63. One weighs 51, one weighs 82, one weighs 78. So to calculate this, you take your height doubled and your weight, and there is a calculation that you can get. There's quite a few apps that you can get as well to be able to calculate this easily. But to give you an idea, this is how these people would fit in the BMI. Now, remember what we said, where you fit in the levels? And if I remember correctly, the last time I worked out my BMI, I was sitting around about 1920. So do yourself a favor. There's plenty of information online as to how to calculate your BMI. Check it and see. It's not a fail-safe indication, but it does give you a pretty good idea of what you should be looking at. So the 51 kilogram lady is underweight. Number 2 is a healthy weight, and number 3 is overweight, even though they're not excessively heavy, but they're also not excessively tall. And we need to maintain body weight because to maintain body weight is necessary to balance energy intake from food and drink with energy expenditure from activity. So just like a computer or your brain, garbage in equals garbage out. So what goes in needs to get burnt off or processed out your system. If it's not burnt off in energy, and if it's not discarded as waste, it is going to stay in your body as fat or potential energy. So your energy balance is the amount of food and drink or your calories that you take in and the amount of kilojoules that you expend in activity. And when energy intake is higher than energy output, over time, this will lead to weight gain or positive energy balance. When energy intake is lower than energy output, over time, this will lead to weight loss or negative energy balance. So you don't want to be continuously in a positive energy balance, but you also don't want to be in a continual negative energy balance. The key word here is balance. So this is where we get our positive energy balance from. A person is said to be in positive energy balance when the diet provides more energy than is needed to meet energy demands of the body. So if you are stocking up on carbs and you sitting in front of your TV all day, not moving, you are going to be in positive energy balance. If you are stuffing yourself with carbs and then going out and running the comrades, you probably won't have a problem. You'll be in a negative energy balance. So energy is stored as fat, and the person puts on weight over time. People who achieve a positive energy balance over an extended period of time are likely to become overweight or obese. As I said, unfortunately, people don't notice when they're putting on the weight. They only notice when they look down and realize, oh, hang, I can't see my feet. Or, geez, my clothes are suddenly a lot tighter than what they used to be. Or various other little giveaways. And it's a little bit like that old story about, they say it's a fable, about putting a frog in boiling water. If you throw a frog into boiling water, it'll jump straight out again. If you put a frog into cold water and slowly heat the water up, it's not going to jump out quite as fast. Being overweight or obese is associated with an increased risk of developing certain cancers, cardiovascular disease, and type 2 diabetes. These are the big three. There are others as well. Now, negative energy balance occurs when there's insufficient energy from the diet to meet the energy demands of the body. Energy is derived from energy stores, and the person loses weight. So your fat that is stored in your body, and we need fat in our body, just please don't mistake me on that one, but your fat is potential energy. As somebody once put it, some people have got more potential energy than others, but we all have potential energy in our bodies. If you are going out and running the comrades, you're going to be tapping into that potential energy store a lot more than the person who sits down and watches the comrades. People who achieve a negative energy balance over an extended period of time are likely to become underweight. And I have generally, for most of my life, been underweight. And just recently, and I'm talking the last year or so, have I finally got to the stage where I feel I'm at a good weight. And that's not something to brag about, just by the way, because being underweight can be just as dangerous as overweight. Being underweight is associated with health problems as well, such as osteoporosis, which is low bone mass, infertility or difficulty to conceive, and quite often heart failure. So energy balance can be maintained by regulating your energy intake through the diet. You need to adjust your physical activity levels, and January is usually the time when most people say, yes, we need to go out and do this. And I was quite amused because our parkrun numbers were quite a bit more now on the 31st of December than they normally are. Yes, some of them were visitors, but I did notice some locals who, if they continue, will benefit dramatically from the parkrun because of the increased physical activity level. And you need to have a combination of both. So you need to regulate your energy intake through the diet. You need to adjust your physical activity levels through action. Now, there are complications that come with obesity as well. And this is some research done by the Institute of Nutrition and Fitness Sciences. Comorbidities associated with obesity include things like type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, cancer risk, mood disorders, heart disease, reproductive disorders, liver disease, otherwise known as fatty liver, hypertension, which is high blood pressure. And there's a relationship between obesity and mortality. Obesity is a global disease, and according to the World Health Organization, figures at least 2.8 million people die each year as a result of being obese. So there are a lot of reasons why you should stay away from fitting into that level of obesity. Sorry, I just want to hide my little goodie over here as well. Obesity and the risk of developing type 2 diabetes in males and females. There's a strong association that exists between central obesity, which is the part around the tummy, and type 2 diabetes. Both insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia, or too much insulin, which is generally your type 1 diabetes, just by the way, correlate positively to visceral fat accumulation, which constitutes an independent risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And obesity regulated inflammatory and procoagulant state, or an increased risk for clotting, basically, is what the procoagulant state means. Weight gain progressively promotes subclinical inflammation in patients with obesity, which is mainly attributed to the secretion of various pro-inflammatory factors. Obesity can also cause dysfunction of the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. Medical people love these big fancy terms. So that's why they often shorten into single letters like HPG. Please don't get hung up about all these fancy terminology. That's for the doctors and people with bigger brains than me to work out. I just find it fun to try and pronounce the names as well. But it can cause a dysfunction in this particular axis because your pituitary gland is situated in the brain and works on your hormone regulation. Obese women present with a wide range of manifestations that extend from menstrual abnormalities to infertility, while obese men can exhibit decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, subfertility, and more rarely hypogonadism, which is another condition that you don't really want to have or suffer from. But hypo means low acting gonads. Obesity and cancer risk. Obesity, particularly in the central visceral, which is your tummy, causes insulin resistance and chronic compensatory hyperinsulinemia, or more in an English terminology, hyper means too much, hypo means not enough. So hyper will mean that there's too much insulin in the system. Increased insulin levels induce mitogenic effects and contribute to tumorigenesis, simply meaning it contributes to cancer-forming cells. Now, obesity and COVID actually played a role as well. And this came to the fore in a lot of cases because they found that those who were obese tended to suffer the most from COVID. And they were the ones that were dying more often than people who weren't obese. A meta-analysis revealed that every 1 kilogram per square meter rise in a patient's BMI was associated with a 2% increased risk of testing positive for COVID. The conclusion is obesity and its wide spectrum of comorbidities can be prevented by the following measures. You need to follow a calorie deficit diet, but obviously be careful. You need to limit the energy intake from total fats and sugars. In other words, stay away from the bad fats and the bad sugars. We need to increase the consumption of fruits and vegetables, as well as legumes, whole grains, and nuts, which is your proteins. And we need to engage in regular physical activity, which they recommend at least 60 minutes a day for children and 150 minutes spread throughout the week for adults. So there you go. You can do probably about 30 minutes a day, and that should cover you. So is there hope to overcome this?
On the one hand, you want to lose weight. On the other hand, you also want to ensure that you also have good nutrition, which is sometimes hard to do when you're on a certain diet. So maybe you've tried some things in the past, and sometimes they've kind of worked, but not long term. You want to lose weight or manage your weight without counting and tracking and measuring and pre-planning and shopping and worrying that you're not getting enough nutrients if you do a certain diet with restrictions. Okay, I have a solution for weight loss and excellent, easy, whole food nutrition that boosts your energy level and is clinically proven to work at the same time without having to choose or think a lot about it. It's simple. It tastes good. It feels good. It is good. Ready? Okay, you have to stick with me and trust me on this one. It's a 60-year-old cellular nutrition company called Neolife. Why haven't you heard of it? Well, long story short, because they spend their efforts and resources on the solid science behind whole food nutrition instead of spending their money on marketing. And I kind of love that about them. Feel free to do a deeper dive into the company and into their impeccable track record, their patented whole food products, their impressive advisory board of leading doctors, microbiologists, sports clinicians, and nutritionists. So that's all nice, but back to you and your weight loss goals. Neolife has an entire family of products for your entire family, but the one that you're asking about is there a weight loss program? Yep, here it is. It's your complete core nutrition that can be prepared in minutes. Protein in the form of a delicious shake in chocolate, vanilla, and berry. Don't shake your head about a shake, it's awesome. I have tested it on my picky friends and my picky kids, and they all love it. It's the exact right balance of easily digestible, multiple source protein, fiber, carbohydrates, clinically proven to help people lose fat, retain muscle, balance blood sugar, and fight cravings. It's also core nutrition, targeted to restore cell function, boost immunity, lower inflammation, and bridge our dietary gap with concentrates of whole fruits, vegetables, salmon oil, and whole grain. It's called the Weight Loss Pack. Plus, if you get 3 friends to join you, you earn yours for free. And for those of you who like money and prizes, there's money and prizes. It's called the Neolife Challenge. Start receiving your monthly nutrition pack, set up your own weight loss or fitness goal for 30 days, hit that goal, and win a prize. Go for 90 days, and you're entered to win $500 in cash, $500 in gear, and $1,000 in products and immediate package. Go for a year, and you're entered to win a whole lot more. Okay, so short story. Last winter, I had to buy 2 Mother of the Brides dresses for my 2 sons who decided to get married 3 weeks apart this past summer. I love their wives. I didn't love shopping, especially with how I looked. So this is legit. I tried a few other weight loss plans. I actually gained weight. I felt kind of gross. Plus, please do not make me enter every bite I eat into an app. That lasted about 1.4 minutes. And then I said, I'm doing Neolife. A shake for breakfast, a healthy mid-morning snack, a shake for lunch, another afternoon snack, and a healthy dinner. Neolife tea, lots of water, walk every evening, do some light weights. Super simple, lots of energy. My kids commented on what a beast I was. I think that's a compliment. I lost the weight, zipped up my dresses, danced until I had blisters. It was awesome. Okay, another short story. This is Joel. I just talked with Joel a few weeks ago, and he shared his story of up and down weight programs for over a decade. Then he listened to his wife and started on Neolife, and he lost 100 pounds, and he got rid of his blood pressure medication, and his pre-diabetic status, and his joint pain. Oh, and he won lots of money because he did the challenge. So if you're a nutrition nut and you want to learn more about Neolife, the science, the clinical research, the full traceability and careful production of their whole food supplements from farm to table, then we can provide you with in-depth information. If you want to start, but you also struggle with some digestive issues, then we have some products to gently prepare your body to receive the nutrition, which we'd love to talk with you about as well. But If you're ready to get started losing weight and feeling amazing, then become a free club member and sign up to get your first weight loss pack. Congratulations, and I am so excited for you. Pop question. How many of you know the phrase, "You are what you eat"? I have an update for you. Recently, a 27-year global study revealed that what's killing us isn't what we're eating. Yeah, we gotta stop eating that. What's actually killing us is what we aren't eating. Wait, what? What are we not eating? Here it is. We are not getting enough nutrients from fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, omega-3 fish oils, and guess what topped the list of what we aren't getting? True whole grain nutrition. Scientists and doctors discovered that essential grain oils that have been removed from most of our grain products to extend shelf life are needed by the human body for cellular energy, vitality, and disease prevention. So, would you like to replenish and supplement those much-needed grain oils and also ensure that you get the other right nutrients for boosting vitality and preventing illness? I have the solution, a 60-year-old company called Neolife. The simplest place to start is with high-quality protein and an easy 4-pack of core nutrition. It's called the Breakfast Pack. 4 essential nutritionals, Pro Vitality, and the Neolife Protein Shake. A 30-day supply that is designed for optimal cellular nutrition by giving your body the key whole food nutrition and protein that many of us lack on a daily basis. There are a lot of protein powders and shakes on the market, even organic brands that contain lead, toxins, and harmful ingredients. It's really hard to know who to trust. This is our Neolife Shake, which is different than any other protein shake on the market. It's clean, which means that it doesn't have toxins, artificial sweeteners, hydrogenated oils, or other non-whole food ingredients. It is packed with all 22 amino acids, not just 9 or 13 or 20, all 22, critical for daily nutrition, which are the building blocks for things like hormones, digestive enzymes, collagen, antibodies, just to name a few purposes. 18 grams of complete protein with the highest digestibility scores, even for those with food sensitivities or gut health issues that help retain muscle mass while also promoting proper weight. An exclusive glycemic response control technology to support normal blood sugar levels and maximum fat-burning ingredients to boost metabolism. Over 25 vitamins and minerals, 5 grams of heart-healthy fiber, 3 delicious flavors. It is a complete meal replacement, which is terrific for people and kids and athletes on the go, or for those wanting to lose and maintain weight. Pro Vitality is a 30-day supply of 4 powerful whole food nutrients to support abundant energy, antioxidant protection, heart health, immune strength, inflammation reduction, brain function, healthy joints, clear vision, and youthful skin, hair, and nails. It has, ready, essential whole grain oils. Remember those? A product that has been clinically proven to improve cellular utilization by up to 50%. Each essential nutritional product is designed to be bioavailable or easily absorbed by your cells and has been proven in clinical studies. TRENN, or 3-in-1, Neolife's foundational whole grain concentrate, includes critical components of our cell membranes that are missing from most diets, true whole grain lipids and sterols. This is the supplement that unlocks your cells and helps them become permeable for optimal cellular health, prevents toxins from getting in, and it allows waste to get out. Carotenoid complex, derived from nutrient-rich, colorful fruits and vegetables, the concentrates of 80 pounds of them. This protects your cells and boosts immunity by 37%. Omega-3 Salmon Oil Plus. This sustainably sourced soft gel has all 8 omega-3s. Many other products just include 2, EPA and DHA. It's tested for more than 200 contaminants for guaranteed purity and 0 toxicity. And most importantly, it reduces inflammatory index by 68%, which is the leading cause of many chronic diseases. Lastly, our essential vitamin and mineral complex with 21 plant-based essential vitamins and minerals to bridge the dietary gap of most people. And this nutrition is also available for children in delicious chewables and liquids. So where do you start? Using these products, we recommend 3 options. Great.
going to stop right there, purely because we are going to run out of time otherwise. So if you are watching this recording and you'd like to know more about the products that were mentioned, such as the breakfast pack, and a little bit more in-depth information on that, please speak to the person who shared this presentation with you. Otherwise, hopefully that information was helpful to you, and we are here to assist you to get to your best, healthiest self and to increase your energy utilization so that you can lose the weight that you need to lose, get back to the energetic young person that you should be.